Hi, everybody. This is Bob Gale, co-creator of Back to the Future, and you're listening to Brad Gilmore.
Doc! Okay, relax, Doc. It's me. It's Martin.
Oh, it can't be. Just sent you back to the future.
Oh, I know you did send me back to the future, but I'm back. I'm back from the future.
Great Scott.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
The way I see it, if you're gonna build a time machine into a car, why not do it with some style?
Whoa, this is heavy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Back to the Future, the podcast, the only podcast looking back in time for the greatest film trilogy of all time, Back to the Future. I'm your friend in time, Brad Gilmore, and we continue on with Season 10 of Back to the Future, the podcast, and this is going to begin our several episode series looking back at something that is so awesome that it actually exists. When we talk about screenplays, we know that Back to the Future is regarded as one of the greatest screenplays ever written. And with the, I guess, intelligence of the writers, Bob Gale and Bob Zemeckis, we know that anything that they write is something that we can learn from and is something that we want to know about. And this one is no different. So what we're going to be doing over these next several episodes is we're going to be looking at the script that was the original draft for the sequel to one of the greatest screenplays ever written and greatest movies ever made, Back to the Future. That script is called Paradox. This comes from our friends over at Back to the Future Fandom, the Wikipedia page for Back to the Future. Paradox was the name of a proposed sequel to Back to the Future that combined the plots of Back to the Future Part 2 and Part 3 into one film. However, the producers of Back to the Future decided not to use this draft of the screenplay because it would be too expensive and rewrote the screenplay as two separate films. Nevertheless, Back to the Future Part 2 was still shot under the working title Paradox. This was done to try to lessen the amount of publicity. Paradox formed the basis of Craig Shaw Gardner's novelizations of Back to the Future Part 2 and Part 3, and it goes on to list the several differences. Now, if you watch the behind-the-scenes making of the trilogy that is on some of the DVDs and Blu-rays box sets over the last few years and the anniversary sets, Bob Gale talks about when they went to go make the sequel, they tried to see what actors were available, and everyone said yes. Then there's the issue with Crispin Glover. As you all know, as long-term listeners of the show, I've had Bob Gale on this show. I've had Crispin Glover on this show. I do not entertain any of the rumors or gossip really of those moments because it's not really for me to be the arbiter of the truth there. I don't know what happened, why it happened. It's unfortunate that it happened. I wish it never happened, but it did. So there we are. Crispin Glover does not become involved in Back to the Future Part 2 and its sequel. So what Bob Gale says is the best thing about a writer is that you can end up writing a character out, and the idea of killing George McFly came about, and then he wrote, along with Bob Zemeckis, they crafted the Paradox script, which was 150 pages almost of one film that was meant to be Lorraine being a flower child in the 1960s, and that's where Doc and Marty have to go back to and kind of figure out the adventure from there. Later on, after kind of retooling the story and splitting it into two films, that's when Zemeckis said, hey, we're in a really unique position to go back into the first movie and see it from a different angle, and then that's what we know came about for Back to the Future Part 2 and then into Part 3. What I'd like to do, though, over these next several episodes is the original first draft of Paradox was released online through bttf.com back in the day, and I have a copy of that script. I'm sure some of you listening have read it before. Some of you may have not even known of its existence. That's the great thing about this podcast. So for the very first time, I am going to read the script on this podcast. We're going to do it over several episodes because it is quite the long script. I attempt to do these things in one take, so I do have a couple of mess ups. I reread lines here and there. I might say a word weirdly or something like that, but I am reading these as they go. So please, in advance, forgive me for any mess ups that I might make of this script, but I think that this is going to be fun. So here's part 1 of my reading of the original Paradox script here on Back to the Future, the podcast. Number 2, first draft. The only thing more uncertain than the future is the past. Soviet proverb. Fade in. Title on black. Saturday, October 26, 1985, 10:38 a.m. Exterior, McFly home and street. Day. We are recreating the closing moments of Back to the Future. The Mr. Fusion modified DeLorean backs out of the McFly driveway and into the street. Doc Brown is, of course, at the wheel, dressed in bizarre future garb, engaging switches and time circuits. Marty and Jennifer sit together in the passenger seat. Marty, Doc, you better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88. Doc, roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads. Doc flips a switch, the wheels rotate 90 degrees, and the DeLorean lifts off and blasts into the future. Across the street, Biff, 48, stands up from behind his truck in astonishment. He's seen the whole thing. Biff, a time machine? Doc Brown invented a time machine? He considers the possibilities. We might notice a racing form on the top of his dashboard. Cut 2, exterior, the sky, day. As the DeLorean materializes from 1985 and into the path of oncoming flying truck, Doc jerks the wheel, narrowly avoiding a collision. The angry truck driver sticks his head out the window. Truck driver, stay in your lane, asshole. Doc maneuvers the DeLorean to the correct side of the floating lane markers. Marty and Jennifer are amazed. Doc turns to them with a big smile. Doc, welcome to the future. Exterior, alley of the future, day. The DeLorean lands in a blind alley. Doc reaches over and opens the passenger gull wing door. Doc, I want both of you to get out and wait for me right here. Marty, but Doc, what's going on? Where are we? When are we? Marty looks at the time display. The present time display reads October 7th, 2015, 3:30 p.m. Doc pulls a Nike gym bag from behind the seat and hands it to Marty. Doc, all your questions will be answered, Marty, but right now I want you to put on these clothes for you and Jennifer to stay here. I'll be back in a few minutes with clothes for her. Just don't go anywhere or do anything. Jennifer gets out of the car. Marty, is this about our kids, Doc? You said something had to be done about them? What are they? Terrorists or murderers or something? Does that mean me and Jennifer get married? Are we both still alive? Doc, please, Marty. No one should know too much about their own destiny. Just trust me. I'll be back soon. Marty sighs and nods. He takes the gym bag, gets out of the car, and closes the door. He and Jennifer step back. Doc lifts off and flies away. Jennifer, amazed and confused. Marty? What's going on? Marty, realizing she knows nothing. Oh, right. Well, that was a time machine, which Doc invented out of a DeLorean, and the instruments said we're now in the year 2015. Jennifer, 2015? That's 30 years from now. Marty, yeah, 30 years in the future. Come on, let's check this out. Jennifer, Marty, Doc said to wait right here. Marty, nothing's going to happen. We're just going to walk down the street, take a look around, and come right back. Jennifer, well, a beat. Shouldn't you change your clothes first? Cut 2. Marty and Jennifer, moments later. As they come around the corner, Marty is now dressed in smart future garb, parentheses, to be determined. He and Jennifer react with stunned astonishment at what they see. Exterior, Hill Valley Courthouse Square, 2015, day. Yes, it's Courthouse Square. Familiar enough to recognize, but vastly changed for the better. The streets are now gigantic sidewalks for pedestrians and bicycles only. No cars, which are restricted to be which are restricted to elevated streets. There's no parking and no landing signs posted. In the center, the village green has been restored and improved with a duck pond and a fountain. The renovated courthouse is now the entrance to the Courthouse Mall, boasting over 75 underground shops. The clock tower has the same clock, cleaned up, restored, but still stopped at 10:04. There are two-level gas station, Nippoko, Nippon Oil Company, a robotics shop, displays robots and accessories, sales, service, rentals. A plastic surgery franchise called Bottoms Up, advertising facelifts and a sale on breast implants. Billboards for Pepsi Plus, it's vitamin enriched. TWA Vietnam Vacations, and GE Superconductors. A holographic IMAX theater playing Godzilla 2015. An antique store with a window filled with rare antiques, objects from the 70s and 80s, including a Betamax, a Super 8 movie camera, a Macintosh computer, and Perrier bottles. And the Perennial Finance Company offering easy credit. Some things never change. Marty and Jennifer stroll through the square, wide-eyed, taking it all in. The pedestrians in general seem in better physical condition. Fewer fat or wear glasses, although there are plenty of wild glasses and video glasses. Several people look at Jennifer's clothes with great curiosity, wondering, is that real cotton? There are kids with painted faces, a contemporary fad. Now Marty and Jennifer walk past. Exterior, info store. It's called The Library, your complete information connection. The window is full of posters advertising the work of various future authors, as well as a video screen showing commercials for other titles. Marty does a double take and pulls Jennifer back. Marty, Jen, look near the bottom. Their POV of a promotional poster for 2015 Sports Almanac, 50 years of sports statistics, 1965 through 2014. Includes baseball, football, horse racing, and basketball. Back to shot, Marty. Oh, back to shot, Jennifer. Yeah, so? Marty, don't you get it? We bring that book back to 1985 and make a fortune. We'll have the results of every football game, horse race, boxing match. We'll place a few bets and we're on easy street for the rest of our lives. Come on. She reluctantly follows him into the store. Interior, info store. Unlike a 1985 bookstore, there are only covers on display and computer terminals in the back. Marty and Jennifer look around bewildered for only a moment before a clerk spots them. Clerk, may I help you? Marty, the Sports Almanac advertised in the window. How much is it? Clerk, on what? Marty, the Sports Almanac. Clerk, the Sports Almanac what? Marty doesn't know what the clerk is getting at. Marty, the Sports Almanac, sir? The clerk looks at Marty suspiciously. Jennifer, Marty, let's just get out of here. Clerk, you floating on wild juice, son? Marty, very slowly and deliberately. Look, I just want to know how much money the Sports Almanac costs. Clerk, just as deliberately. And I just want to know what format you want. ROM cart, ROM D, Standard C, Mini C, or Micro C. Rental, lease, or download. What's a memcap and baud rate? Interface with me, kid. You'll never get by in this world if you can't interface. Marty is speechless for a moment. Marty, right. Good advice. Jen, why don't we get out into the world and interface? Waves at the clerk. Thanks a lot. As they head for the exit, the clerk mutters to himself, assholes. Jennifer. Marty to Jennifer. Now there's a word I understand. Exit, alley, day. The DeLorean returns to the alley, landing from above. Doc Brown jumps out of the car. Doc. Okay, I brought some homing devices to make sure you don't get lost. Realizes no one's there. Marty? Jennifer? He looks around for them, but all he can find is Marty's discarded 1985 clothes. Doc. Damn. I can't leave him alone for 5 minutes. Kids. No sense of responsibility. Takes a deep breath. Calm down, Emmett. Get a hold of yourself. They're probably just went to find a bathroom. He looks at his watch, then starts pacing. Cut 2, exterior, Courthouse Square, day. Marty and Jennifer are still going away from the alley. Marty, if we can just find a book version of that sports almanac, you think they still have books in the future? Jennifer, I really don't care. I just want to go back and wait for Doc. Marty, you don't care about being a millionaire? Jennifer, Marty, I don't know what we're doing. I don't feel comfortable walking around in the future in these clothes. Marty, stop short. In there. They've got to have a Yellow Pages. They are in front of a McDonald's. Cut 2, interior, McDonald's. New at McDonald's. No more waiting in line. Our McWaiters bring food right to your table. Each table has a computer touchpad menu for ordering and people paying for their purchases by pressing their thumbprint onto a special pressure pad. Marty and Jennifer are at the payphone. The phone itself has a computer screen display with touchpads. The screen is yellow. Computer voice. Thanks for your request. Here are all retail bookstores within 1 kilometer of this location. A list appears on the screen. Computer voice. Do you want a printed copy? Yes or no? Marty. Yes. A printout of the small wallet-sized card comes out below. Marty. Looks like the phone company has finally gotten their act together. Voice. Off screen. Hey, McFly! Marty and Jennifer turn in the direction of the voice. A tough-looking guy, 18, has just entered with 3 punks, Spike, Whitey, and Hack, behind him. The face is familiar, and the manner is familiar. He's the future descendant of Biff, named Griff. He walks over to a nerdy kid, 17, who is a mess. Unkempt hair, sloppy clothes, a total dork. Nerdy kid. Hi, Griff, guys. How's it going? Marty's mouth falls open in total shock. The nerdy kid looks just like him. There can be no doubt this is Marty's son. Griff. You got my homework finished, Norman? Marty. Mouths this in disbelief. Norman? Norman. Oh, yes, Griff, I did it this morning. It's here somewhere. Norman finds his mini computer disk in a folder containing other disks with plastic cards. He hands it to Griff. Marty, to himself, still in disbelief. Norman? Griff takes the disk and shakes his head. He knocks on Norman's head. Griff. Hello? Anybody home? Think, McFly, think. You entered this data without my passkey code. Do you know what will happen if I turned in my data with your passkey code? I get kicked out of school. You wouldn't want that to happen, would you? Norman. No, Griff. I wouldn't want that to happen. Griff. You know, your sister still owes me money. You wouldn't happen to have it on you, would you? Norman shakes his head. Spike. You'll never see that money, Griff. Her old man probably borrowed it from her, and you know what that means. They all laugh at this comment, even Norman. Griff. Why are you still sitting here for, McFly? You still got homework to redo, remember? Norman. Okay, I'll get right on it. As Norman starts for the door, one of the guys yanks down his pants, then Griff trips him. Norman falls flat on his face and spills the contents of his folder, discs, plastic cards, and printouts. Everyone erupts in laughter. Norman included as he picks up his things. Marty winces at the humiliation. Griff snaps his fingers and the boys yank Norman up. Again, he knocks on Norman's head. Griff. Hello? Anybody home? You forgot my passkey code, McFly. He holds up a plastic card with a barcode symbol. Norman laughs at his own stupidity. He takes it, and then the gang escorts him out. Griff. I don't want to see you again until you get it finished, understand? Norman. You won't, Griff, I promise. They all go out the door, leaving Marty and Jennifer in total shock. Marty. That can't be my son. He can't be. Jennifer. Marty. He looks just like you. Marty. I would never name my kid Norman. Jennifer. I always wanted to name my son Norman after my grandpa. Marty. Jennifer. Don't say this to me. Marty picks up a blue plastic card that was left on the floor from Norman's folder and examines it. Insert blue plastic card. One side is a magnetic strip and the other side has a holographic image of Norman, Hill Valley Remedial School, and a class schedule with current grades. Elementary math, D+. Remedial computer, C-. Remedial reading, D. Remedial English, D. Marty shakes his head and pockets the card. Marty, perfect. He's an idiot, too. Oh, God. It would have been better if he was a juvenile delinquent, a punker with purple hair, a teenage terrorist, anything but a wimp. Exterior, McDonald's Day. As they exit, Marty stops, remembering something. Marty, wait, what did they say about me? I was borrowing money, like from my daughter? Am I broke? Jennifer, Marty, let's just ask Doc about it. Marty, right. You go wait for Doc and I'll be there in a few minutes. He checks the telephone directory printout card. Jennifer, what are you going to do? Realizes. How can you be thinking about a book at a time like this? Marty, look, I don't want to grow up and have to borrow money from my own kids. Not when I know how to get rich. Jennifer, but we shouldn't find out a little bit more first? Shouldn't we find out a little bit more first about ourselves, about everything? Marty, we will find out more, but let's keep our options open. If we don't need the book, we can just throw it away. You go back to the alley, and I'll be right there after I hit the bookstore. He gives her a quick kiss on the cheek and then takes off down the street. She watches him a moment, sighs, and then goes back toward the alley, which is in the opposite direction. Cut to exterior alley, day. Doc Brown picks up Marty's 1985 clothes and he gets in the DeLorean. Doc, they're lost or in some kind of trouble. They could be in jail for all I know. Well, I brought him here, so I got to find him. Doc closes his gull-wing door and revs up the DeLorean. Jennifer is approaching the alley. Now she sees the DeLorean flying away. She runs, waving her arm, yelling, Doc, wait, come back, stop. Too late. Doc can't hear her and the DeLorean flies off, leaving her alone and frightened. She sighs, considers her situation, then runs back in the direction Marty went. Jennifer, Marty! But Marty is nowhere to be seen. Cut to interior, bookstore. Close on the book version of the Sports Almanac. It's a large format paper book and the price, if we notice it, is $39.95 and there's a UPC symbol next to it. Wider, bookstore counter. Marty hands it to the cashier, a woman in her mid-30s who is surprised at its weight. She examines it. Cashier, 5,000 pages? No wonder it weighs a ton. This is ultra-thin paper, is amazing. She runs it through the barcode scanner. Nearby is a display promoting A Match Made in Space, the classic miniseries, now available on all HD video formats. Cashier, with tax, it comes to $43.95. Thumbprint, please. Marty, could I pay cash for this? Cashier, cash? Are you serious? You know there's a 2% handling charge for cash. Marty, well, that's okay. Cashier, cash price is $44.83, which is $44.85 to the nearest nickel. But I'd better make sure we have cash in the store to make change. Unlocks a drawer, searches. Say, are you one of those privacy activists? This isn't exactly penthouse you're buying here. Marty, I guess I'm just old-fashioned. Cashier, well, you're in luck. We actually have some cash today. Marty is on the verge of pulling out his own cash, looks up and sees the cashier's money. The future currency has rainbow borders and holographic treasury seals. Marty, I think I'll be charging it after all. The cashier nods and offers him the thumb imprint panel. Marty puts his thumb to it, and electronic beep sounds, and the cashier checks the computer screen. McFly, Martin Hopkins, unusual middle name. Marty smiles. He's gotten away with it. Marty, yeah, I was named after Mark Hopkins Hotel in San Francisco. That's where I kind of got started. Cashier, still living in Hilldale? Marty, where? I mean, yeah, right. He suddenly tries to see what other information is on the screen. Suddenly, the cashier eyes him very suspiciously. Cashier, Mr. McFly, it says that you were born June 20th, 1968. That means you're 47 years old. Marty, well, I just had a facelift. The cashier stares at him in total disbelief. There's a moment of tension. She shakes her head. Cashier, that is the absolute best wrinkle job I've ever seen. puts a book in an opaque red plastic Ziploc bag. Who was your doctor? Marty takes package, smiles. Dr. Brown. Interior, McDonald's, at the phone. Jennifer is back at the payphone, operating the directory computer. Make entry, please. Jennifer types out McFly, Martin. Then she presses enter. Immediately, the screen flashes no such listing. Jennifer is shocked. The screen now flashes alternate listings McFly and a following list with 8-digit phone numbers. David R. McFly, George F. Mrs. McFly, Jennifer McFly, 1131 Park Lane, Hilldale, 299-64484. End of listings for McFly. Jennifer, I'm listed, but Marty isn't? With some trepidation, Jennifer selects the place call option to herself. The display reads, insert $2 or press the thumb pad. Jennifer presses her thumb to the thumb pad. After a few electronic beeps, the call is connected. Jennifer hears the phone ringing on the other end. She's nervous in anticipations. After the second ring, her own voice answers. Jennifer, VO phone. Hello, this is Jennifer. Jennifer, yes. Jennifer, VO continued. We can't take your call right now, so please leave a message. Jennifer sighs relief, laughs at herself, and then hangs up. She presses the hard copy option and gets a printed card with her future address and phone number. Jennifer, Hilldale. I wonder where that is. Exterior, flying DeLorean. The DMC flies over a futuristic industrial park and descends into Doc's garage, unchanged in the midst of new development. The doors open automatically and the DeLorean drives in. Interior, Doc's lab. The DeLorean parks next to a futuristic van. Dr. E. Brown Enterprises, 24 hours scientific services. The lab is Doc's usual electric mess, but there are a lot of appliances, tools, and equipments of the future. Doc Brown leaps out with Marty's clothes, frantic. Doc, Einstein, I need your help. Doc runs to his faithful dog, who sits down calmly in front of him and a future TV watching a used car commercial featuring used autos from earlier in the 21st century. Doc continued, we have to find Marty and Jennifer. I know you can do it. You're a part bloodhound. I'm sure you don't remember your grandpa, but he was a bloodhound, a good one. Someday I'll take you back in time to meet him. Smell these clothes. Doc puts Marty's clothes in front of Einstein. As the dog sniffs them, Doc rummages around and finds a Ronco aroma amplifier, which consists of a funnel connected to an electronic box and a hose that runs out the other side and attaches to the noise. Doc, I knew this would come in handy someday. Exterior, near the alley. Marty shoves the red bookstore bag in his jacket, then turns the corner expecting to see Doc, Jen, and the DeLorean. Marty, damn, where are they? Marty runs out of the alley confused. Town Square. Marty looks around for them, wandering aimlessly. Near the pond, Griff and the boys notice him. Spike, hey, Griff, isn't that Griff? Yeah. Go out and gets new clothes and a new haircut when he's supposed to be doing my homework. Whitney, funny, he looks shorter somehow. Griff yells, hey, McFly, get over here now. I'll rip you in two. Marty looks over and sees the gang, then runs like hell in the other direction. Griff, to the guys, let's get them. Marty dashes around the corner, past the side of the building and a fire door which says exit only. The door opens up and an elderly couple comes out smiling. Marty sees the opening and darts inside. The door is closed behind him. Now Griff and the boys come out running in pursuit. They go right past the exit door and keep running. Interior, theater backstage area, day. Marty's in the backstage of a theater, and as he catches his breath, he comes aware of rock music. In fact, it's The Power of Love. It sounds like Huey Lewis and the News. Marty goes around some curtains and sees Huey Lewis and the News on stage. They're in their 60s, gray and old, but a sight to behold as they still rock and roll. Marty can't believe it. He looks out at the audience, all over 40, some in their 70s, clapping, cheering, and rocking out. The song ends as they applaud wildly. Huey, Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This next one, I'm sure you all will remember, was a really big hit for us back in 1989. The man starts playing a terrific rocker that Marty has never heard before. Marty reacts with mixed emotions. A great song played by his idols, who are now old, playing for an artist of his contemporaries. Cuts to exterior, town square, day. Jennifer walks down the street, bewildered, until she notices an up escalator with a sign saying Trans Rapid, and the destinations East Valley, San Lomas, and Hilldale. Jennifer, Hilldale. She takes a deep breath and goes up. Cut to interior, theater. Marty watches from the sidelines as Huey Lewis and the boys finish their number. The crowd goes wild, or as wild as they can for their age. Huey, thank you. We're going to give you all a chance to stretch your legs for 10 minutes, but don't go far. They head off stage right towards Marty, who lights up. Marty, great. I'm going to be Huey Lewis. As they approach, they literally vanish into thin air. Marty can't understand it. He steps on stage and looks around. The big shimmering banner behind the stage says it all. Nostalgia International presents Huey Lewis and the News, back in the 20th century, the 3D holographic concert. Marty shakes his head and chuckles. Usher, hey you, get off the stage. An usher is approaching. Marty hurries off the stage, comes back into the auditorium. He exits through the first door he comes to, marked elevators to upper plaza exits. Exit, a plaza, day. Elevator doors open and Marty finds himself in Wilson Memorial Plaza, a business/shopping/entertainment complex. There are offices, shops, and access to parking lots, streets, and public transportation. Marty wanders around, taking it all in while pedestrians go around their business ignoring him. Marty pauses to stare at a memorial bust of Mayor Goldie Wilson. A familiar voice instantly calls, Dave Norman. Dave, Norman McFly. Marty turns around and is shocked to see his older brother, now much older, brother Dave, coming up to him. Now 55, Dave has developed a paunch and his hair is thinning gray. Dave, Norman. I thought that was you. What are you staring at me for? It's your Uncle Dave. Marty smiles weakly, trying not to gawk. So Norman, what are you doing over here? Aren't you going to the hospital? Marty, huh? Voice off screen. He forgot, Dave. Marty sees his sister Linda, now age 51, who just joined him. Marty, Linda. What happened to Aunt Linda? New haircut, eh? What's that supposed to be? The 80s retro look? You look a lot like your dad did when you had hair like that. Don't you think, Dave? Dave, a little. He's got his mother's eyes, though. Marty smirks at the comment. Linda, so are you coming with us, Norman? Dave, don't ask him. Tell him. You are coming with us, Norman. Linda, quit bossing everyone around to Marty. When we were kids, he used to boss your dad and me around all the time, always picking on us. Dave picks at Linda's cheek. Pick. Linda, stop that. Marty, that's funny, Aunt Linda, because Dad says you picked on him a lot too. Dave, I take it your dad's not going? Marty, I don't know. Linda, if he does show up, he'll be as late as usual, and so will we if we don't get going, Dave. Dave, all right. Come on, Norman. You'll disappoint your grandmother if you don't go. Marty, my grandmother? Realizes he's talking about who he's talking about. Oh, right. Wouldn't want to disappoint Grandma. Marty follows Dave and Linda to the parking structure, not realizing he's been spotted by Griff and the gang. Spike, there's Norman, Griff, but he's with some moldy oldies. Griff, let's follow him. I want to teach that run a lesson he'll never forget. Cut to exterior, Trans Rapid, L Station, day. A sleek maglev train, magnetic levitation via superconductors, speeds past, revealing Jennifer, who's just disembarked at the Hilldale station. Jennifer heads for the exit. Exterior, housing project, day. Jennifer approaches the Hilldale housing development, a faceless sprawl of identical cluster townhouses and low-rise apartments. Jennifer takes a deep breath and then walks through the main entrance, past a sign that says subsidized housing for low and middle income families. Cut 2, exterior, road, on the way to the hospital. We follow Dave's car as it proceeds on wheels along the nicely landscaped road. Dave's car passes a historical monument, a large statue of a pioneer and a pack mule. This is William Bill Hill, founder of Hill Valley. Interior, Dave's moving car. Marty, in the back seat, looks at the familiar sight and smiles where Linda and Dave converse up front. Marty, good old Bill. Nice to see he's still here. Dave, Mom's pretty upset that Uncle Joey didn't make parole again. She was really hoping he'd be there. Linda, well, there's one in every family. Throws a glance at Norman. Sometimes more than one. Radio DJ. Voiceover. Playing all the hits of the 1980s and 90s. This is KSERA with a classic by Exterior, Dave's car. Dave's car passes the monument and the grove of trees beyond it. Hill Valley Community Hospital. It's quite a complex, and we can tell from various buildings and wings which comprise it, it has been expanded over the last 40 years or so. There's a lot of activity around one particular wing. Interior, Dave's moving car. Marty is quite impressed. Marty, whoa, this place is sure grown. Indicates the activity. What's going on over there? Dave and Linda look at him like he's a complete idiot. Linda, Earth to Norman, Earth to Norman. What do you think we're doing here, nephew? Marty, we're going to go see my grandma? Dave, right. And why are we seeing her? Marty, because she's here? Dave and Linda exchange a look and shake their heads. Cut 2, Griff's convertible. Day. Griff and the gang are following Dave's car from a distance behind. Whitey, they're going to the hospital. Griff, then so are we. Cut 2, exterior, alley. Day. Doc's flying van lands in the alley. The aroma amplifier is strapped to Einstein's head. Doc aims the funnel out the window. Doc, okay, Einie, find the trail, find Marty. Einstein barks excitedly and Doc starts piloting the van along the trail. Cut 2, exterior, street and housing project. Jennifer walks up to a townhouse cluster and finds 1311. She looks it over and tries to see in a side window, but it's too high and bushes are in the way. She goes around the front steps, takes a deep breath, and walks up to the front door. Exterior, townhouse at the front door. There's no door knocker or doorbell button. In fact, there's no doorknob. However, a thumb plate on the door frame above, which has the name McFly. Jennifer touches the thumb plate and a computer voice responds. Computer voice, welcome home, Miss McFly. The door automatically slides open. Jennifer hesitates, then sticks her head in and looks around. Interior, McFly house. Jennifer looks around and decides it's safe to enter. The door automatically closes behind her. She's nervous and scared. She looks around the living room/den. It's economically furnished with a futon modular furniture. In a corner is a workstation desk with a computer terminal, printer, phone, and modem. On one wall is a large frame art print. Stairways go up and down. Very cautiously, Jennifer explores the surroundings. Jennifer goes to a bookstore or bookcase and browses. On the shelf, there are a row of videos of a format yet to be invented. There is a pre-recorded copy of A Match Made in Space. The other titles are handwritten, and these include Wedding, Jennifer and Marty, Family Vacations, 1995 to 2005, George and Lorraine's 50th wedding anniversary, Norman and Doris, Volume 1, 2, and 3. Jennifer is intrigued. She takes the one, Norman and Doris, and examines it. Jennifer, Doris? We name our daughter Doris? Suddenly, a girl's voice calls from upstairs. Doris, off screen. Mom? Mom, is that you? Jennifer reacts with fear. She quickly puts the videotape back on the shelf and runs for the door. Now, front footsteps from upstairs. Doris off screen. Mom? Mom! Jennifer pushes the thumb plate by the front door. It slides open. Footsteps are coming down the stairs and a shadow. Jennifer runs out. The door slides shut behind her. Exterior townhouse. Jennifer runs down the steps and ducks behind the car parked on the street. She looks back at the townhouse. The door slides open. Jennifer's jaw drops and her eyes go wide as she sees Doris McFly, 17, in a bathrobe, who looks like, well, if Marty was a girl, 60 pounds overweight and had acne. That's Doris, a complete mess, just like her brother. Doris looks up and down down the streets for whatever was left of the house. Seeing no one, she shrugs and goes back inside. Jennifer is devastated. Cut 2. Exterior hospital dedication ceremony. Dave, Linda, and Marty walk quickly to join the crowd gathered in front of the newest building for dedication ceremony. There are a few TV cameras covering the event. Giant video screens show the speaker's podium so everyone can see. There's also refreshment tables being replenished by caterers pushing hover carts, levitating dollies, loaded with shelves of food. Speaker: it gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest of honor, Lorraine McFly. There is a warm round of applause from the crowd as Lorraine McFly, 77 years old, steps up to the podium. Despite her white hair, glasses, and wrinkles, she can still get around on her own. Linda: I told you we were late. Dave: she's just going on now. We haven't missed anything. Marty stares in amazement at his aged mother. Lorraine: thank you, Jason. Ladies and gentlemen, as many of you know, when my husband died 2 years ago. Marty reacts with horror to this sad news. Lorraine continued: his final request was that his entire fortune be given to this hospital for the construction of a new emergency facility. As the speech continues, Marty begins looking around at the crowd with nervous anxiety. Linda: Norman, why are you so fidgety? What are you doing? Norman: Marty: huh? Oh, I was just looking for my dad. Lorraine continued: now, some of you may remember this was the hospital Hill Valley didn't need. This was the hospital Hill Valley couldn't afford. In fact, the city council wanted to sell off this land and use the money for a nuclear power plant. Luckily, no one at the time had enough money to buy this land. So under a cloud of controversy, Hill Valley Community Hospital was built and opened in 1973. Marty keeps looking around. Suddenly, he sees a familiar face. Griff, some distance away, is looking right at him. He has a sadistic expression on his face as he gestures, "Come here." The gang is with him. Marty gulps and quickly pushes through the crowd to escape. Lorraine continued: on a stormy night, 1 month later, George McFly was critically injured in an automobile accident. Luckily, this hospital was only a mile away and there was time to save my husband's life. Without it, he would have died. Because County General was 5 miles away, was inaccessible, the storm had washed out the Groby Road Bridge, and this was the hospital we didn't need. As Marty pushes through the crowd, he stumbles into an elderly man in a futuristic wheelchair. Elderly man: hey, watch where you're going. The voice, tone, and words are unmistakable. Marty turns and finds himself face to face with Biff, now 78, nearly bald, with a few strands of white hair, bifocals, and a very wrinkled complexion. Marty stares in amazement. Biff: what are you looking at, butthead? Marty, after a moment's hesitation: nothing, sorry. Marty moves away. We hold on to Biff, who suddenly reacts with his recognition. Biff: hey, I know that guy, but it can't be. Lorraine continued: today, it gives me great pleasure to dedicate the George F. McFly Memorial Wing of Hill Valley Community Hospital. She cuts the ribbon to thunderous applause and then unveils a bust of George McFly. The image of George is all that's needed to jog Biff's memory. Biff: McFly, Marty McFly. Biff looks around and spots Marty still moving away. He yells at him. Biff, Marty! Hey, Marty! Marty reacts, wondering who yelled, just for a moment, but Biff has confirmed his suspicions. He nods knowingly, puts his automatic wheelchair in gear, and starts following Marty. Marty moves to the edge of the crowd and looks back. No sign of Griff and the guys. Marty sighs relief, and only to turn to find Griff and the gang in front of him. Marty. Griff. McFly, I thought I didn't want to see you till my homework had been done. Hack. You know what happens when you don't do Griff tells you to do? Spike. We kill you. Marty. I didn't really like to discuss this with you, but hey, look. Griff falls for it and turns. Marty immediately socks him in the jaw. Griff falls backward into the guys and Marty bolts. Griff gets up, totally surprised. Griff, get him! They give chase. Biff reacts to seeing Griff. Biff, what in the hell does my grandson have to do with this? Chase sequence. Marty runs into a caterer pushing a hover cart and knocks it over. The cart breaks apart, spilling food, but the bottom of the hover section remains intact. Marty leaps on it, creating a hoverboard. He kick pushes to gain speed. It only remains a few inches off the ground. Griff and the guys keep coming. Marty grabs onto the back of a passing pickup truck and is whisked away from his pursuers. The gang is amazed. Biff scratches his head as his memories return. Biff, there's something familiar about all this. Marty looks back at the gang with a smirk and waves to them, not realizing that the truck he hooked onto has just pulled into the up traffic only lane. The truck lifts upward, pulling Marty skyward. Marty is euphoric, and then suddenly the board drops from under him, leaving him hanging on by one arm from the back of a flying pickup truck, terrified. Griff and the guys are laughing. Griff yells, Hey, McFly, did you forget maglevs don't work more than 6 inches off the ground? The pickup truck goes still higher, 200, 300 feet. Marty's hand is slipping. He's losing his grip. He tries to find a handhold for the other hand, but there isn't any on the smooth finish. Marty looks down. It's his certain death. His hand slips further. Marty spots a protruding tailpipe on the truck. He reaches for it with his free hand. Success. He lets go, and his other hand grabs the tailpipe with both hands. He's safe for about 1 second, and then the tailpipe breaks. Marty plummets. No way he can get out of this one. Below, Griff and the gang react triumphantly. Suddenly, from out of nowhere, Doc's flying van zooms in, banks, and catches Marty through the open side door. Interior, Doc's flying van. Marty takes a moment, then realizes where he is. Marty. Doc, thank God. Doc. No, thank Heine. On the ground, Biff sees the flying van with E. Brown Enterprises on it. Biff. Doc Brown and Marty McFly. Very interesting. Wheels towards the street. Taxi! Interior. Doc's flying van. Marty greets Einstein happily. Marty. Einstein. Hey, boy. Good to see you. So, Doc, where's Jennifer? Doc. You mean you don't know either? Marty. She went back to the alley to wait for you. Doc. Back? Back from where? Marty. We sort of decided to, look around for a minute. Doc. Wait right here. Isn't that what I said? Did I not make myself clear? Is it just me? Is it you? A physiological problem with your auditory nerves? Marty. No, I heard you, Doc. I just thought you were being overly cautious. I mean, it's the future. So it wasn't like I was risking screwing something up like the space-time continuum. Doc. The time-space continuum. Doc, correcting him. The space-time continuum. Marty. Whatever. Doc. So instead, you go out and attract attention, make a spectacle of yourself, nearly get killed. Time traveler's secret, Marty. What if you got picked up by the police, What if they figured out what was going on? Do you realize the consequences of the public learning about time travel? Marty. Yeah, I guess if criminals got the DeLorean, things could get pretty hairy. Doc. Criminals? Doc. Criminals? Hell, I'm worried about the federal government. Marty, well, relax, Doc. The only people who saw me thought I was my son. Cut to interior of a flying taxi. Biff is sitting on the back of a cab by his wheelchair with his wheelchair collapsed next to him. Biff, don't let him know we're tailing him. Cab driver, relax. I've got you acculocked. Exterior, Marty, townhouse, dusk/night. Jennifer is climbing on the bushes to peek through the side window. She has to get into a somewhat precarious position in order to see inside. Jennifer's POV through the window of Doris coming from the kitchen with a tray of food, a huge chocolate sundae loaded with whipped cream, a pile of fudge brownies, and a tub of fried chicken. She's now wearing mismatched clothes, which make her look even worse. Intercut with Jennifer, watching her daughter with a pained expression. Jennifer, oh God, she doesn't even know how to dress. Doris sits on the futon sofa, hits a button on a remote controller, and then the large art print becomes a TV screen. She digs into her snack as she watches a commercial, then reacts to the front door opening as CompuVoice proclaims, CompuVoice, good evening, Norman. Norman enters. Norman, hey, Dor, is Dad home yet? Doris, no, and Mom's out getting groceries. Norman, damn, I gotta talk to him or Rita. Doris, he won't have time, never does. Cut 2. Doc's lab, night. Biff in his motorized wheelchair approaches Doc's garage and maneuvers over to a window where he can peek in and eavesdrop. Interior, Doc's lab, night. Doc paces, trying to think. The van is parked next to the DeLorean. Doc, now, if you were Jennifer, what would you do? Marty, I'd do what I did in 1955. Look you up in the phone book. Doc, I'm not listed. Marty, then I'd look me up. Great Scott! If Jennifer actually encounters herself, the results could be disastrous. Marty, what do you mean, Doc? Doc, shock. The shock of coming face to face with oneself 30 years older may be more than any human being can handle. It could conceivably kill her. And if she dies, you certainly can't get married. And if you don't get married, you won't have kids. If you don't have kids, I won't have a reason to bring you and Jennifer here in the first place. And if I don't bring you here in the first place, she won't get killed. Marty, then what's the problem? It creates a paradox. A person can't be both alive and dead at the same time. It violates the laws of physics. Marty, Doc, you can't be busted for breaking the laws of physics. Doc, no, but we could disturb the very fabric of time and set up a chain reaction which would destroy the entire universe. Pete, granted, that's the worst case scenario. The destruction might, in fact, be very localized, limited to merely our own galaxy. Marty laughs uncomfortably. Oh, hey, yeah, you had me worried there for a second, Doc. Doc, but it would be interesting to attempt such an experiment on a small scale. Perhaps I could place my own portrait next to Albert, Ben, Tom, and Isaac. There might even be a Nobel Prize in it. But then I'd have to go to Sweden, and it's so cold there. Marty, Doc, forget Sweden. We got to find Jennifer. Marty, or Doc, wrong. You're staying here. I'm going to go find Jennifer. Marty, but Doc, she's my girl. I've got to go with you. Doc, and run the risk of you running into your future self? No, Marty, I can't allow it. It'll be much safer for me and you to stay here and just wait. Stop short, remembering. On the second thought, it'll be much safer if you're with me, so I can keep an eye on you. Spots red bag in Marty's jacket. What's that in your jacket? Marty smiles weakly, pulls the sealed bag out of his jacket and shrugs. Marty, huh? Oh, this, nothing. I picked up some dumb book. You know, something to read in case I got bored, and I guess I won't need it now. Marty tries to toss it aside, but Doc picks it up. Doc, rather heavy reading. Unseals the bag, examines the book. 50 years of sports statistics? Hardly recreational material, Marty. Marty, okay, well, I thought it couldn't hurt to bring it back, a little info in the future. In case of a cash flow problem, I'd place a few bets. Marty, I didn't invent time travel for financial gain. This is a scientific endeavor for us to use, not to abuse. The intent here is to gain a clear understanding of ourselves, of humanity in general, where we're going, where we've been, the pitfalls and the possibilities, the perils and the promise, perhaps even get an answer to the universal question, why? Marty, hey, Doc, I'm all for that, but what's wrong with making a few bucks on the side? Doc, because it's cheating, and it could create a time paradox. And frankly, I don't want to be remembered as the man who disrupted the fourth dimension and accidentally destroyed the universe. Speaking of which, we've got to find Jennifer before she finds herself. Doc reseals the book in the bag and leaves it on the table. And then Marty and Doc and Einstein get into the van. At the window, Biff has been watching all of this with great interest and very, very great interest. Cut 2, exterior, McFly townhouse, night. Jennifer continues spying through the window for her precarious position. Voiceover. Good evening, Marty. Your prerequisite beverage will be processed in 90 seconds. Jennifer strains for a better view. Intercut with her POV and interior of the townhouse. Old Marty, 47, enters through the door. His hair is gray, but he seems very dapper in a future version of a blazer and tie. Jennifer is hopeful. Old Marty turns, and on the back of his blazer is embroidered Gomez Valet Parking. Jennifer is sick. Old Marty heads right for the phone, paying no attention to his kids. Norman, hey, Dad, could I talk to you about something? Old Marty, not right now, Norman. I'm very busy. Old Marty picks up the phone and punches some numbers. Norman, but Dad, it's important. Marty, I don't have time right now, Norman. Maybe tomorrow. Doris gives Norman an I told you so look. Norman sighs and goes upstairs. Old Marty gets a loud electronic jamming tone from the phone. Old Marty, damn, what's with the jamming? I've got a major hunch on tonight's lottery. The pot's up to 48 million. Doris, Mom had the exchange blocked. She doesn't want you throwing away any more money. Marty, throwing away money? The lottery's an investment. The key to our future. Doesn't your mother understand that? Doris has heard this millions of times. She sighs, shakes her head, and stares, going upstairs. Marty gets his martini, CompuVoice. Welcome home, Jennifer. Jennifer watches anxiously. Interior. Doc's flying van, night. Doc pilots. Marty is in the passenger seat, looking at Norman's blue plastic card. Einstein is in the rear. Marty. So, Doc, bring me up to speed here. Like, what's with Norman? Doc, you've seen him? So you know he's got some serious problems? Thought you could help straighten him out? Marty. But I still exist as his father, right? Even if I'm an old man? Doc. 47 is not old, Marty. 80, 90, 100, that's old. 47 is mature. Marty. Okay, even if I'm mature, I'm still me. So what do you need me for? Unless it's because I'm having my own problems in the future, except you said that Jennifer and I both turned out fine. I know I said that, but what I meant was, well, look, Marty, there are certain things you'd be better off not knowing just yet. Right now, our most vital concern is Jennifer. Marty sighs. Cut 2, exterior, townhouse, night. Jennifer strains to see what's going on inside. Intercut with her POV and interior of the townhouse. Old Jennifer comes from downstairs with a bag of groceries, with blocks on her face. Old Jennifer comes up from downstairs with a bag of groceries, which blocks her face. She wears a coat over what appears to be a blue suit. As the scene proceeds, young Jennifer's POV and old Jen's face is constantly blocked by the plant on the windowsill, by old Marty, or by old Jennifer's turning her back to the window. Old Marty tosses back the rest of his drink. Old Marty, Jen, honey, I've got news, big news. Old Jennifer, Marty, I've had a long day and I don't want to hear about another can't miss investment. Old Marty, you don't even know what it is yet. Can't you at least be open-minded? Old Jennifer, every time I'm open-minded, we end up in debt to our ears. The answer is no. End of conversation. Old Marty, I can't believe you're doing this. Don't you care about our kids? Don't you want them to have a better life? Old Jennifer, I'm doing this. I'm doing this? You want to know why our kids are so screwed up? Because of the example you've set. How can you expect them to apply themselves in school when you can't hold a job for more than 6 months? Outside, young Jennifer tries to maneuver to a better position and picks her finger on a thorn. Jennifer, ow! She looks away from the window to check her finger and then misses seeing old Jennifer reacts in identical pain from the finger prick. Oh, wow. Old Marty, hey, I've always told them that if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. I believe that, and that's what I live by. Old Jennifer. And what have you put your mind to? Making a fortune without working? You're certainly accomplished the not working part. Face it, Marty, you're a slacker, and our kids are slackers too. Old Marty. My ship will come in, and then it's going to be megabucks, McFly. Just a little patient. Just be a little patient. Old Jennifer. Damn it. I've been patient since high school. Remember when you canceled our trip to the lake because of those guys in the red Corvette? Old Marty. What guys in the red Corvette? Old Jennifer. Those sleazeballs, Winch and Lomax, they offered you a once-in-a-lifetime deal to make a major cashola. Instead, you almost got thrown in jail. Old Marty shrugs it off. Jennifer continued. Then you gave up your music because you decided it wouldn't make you a millionaire. Never mind, it was good, steady work. You take jobs you hate because you think you can make connections and then you screw it up. You almost ruined your brother's investment firm with that synthetic paper scam. And then you involved your dad in that phony tax shelter. We got a great return on that one. We were all cut out of his will. And now I've cleared our credit rating, so you're trying to get us back into debt with your psychic lottery connection. Well, I've got news for you, Mr. McFly. If you ever do strike it rich, it'll be too late because you won't have a family to share it with. Marty, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Jennifer, it means divorce. I've filed. It becomes final at midnight. Excuse me, guys. It becomes final at midnight tomorrow. Old Jennifer takes off her coat and turns around. Young Jennifer gasps as she sees what she's become. Old Jennifer, 47, wears a security guard uniform. The years have not been kind, and the booze haven't helped either. Puffy, wrinkled circles under the eyes. She reminds us of Lorraine at the beginning of part 1. Young Jennifer's eyes glaze over as she passes out, falling into the bushes. Inside, old Jennifer suddenly stops short and gasps for air, and then she passes out too. Old Marty. Jennifer? Old Marty goes to his wife and tries to revive her. Exterior. Street in McFly townhouse. Night. Doc's flying van swoops in and lands. Doc, Marty, and Einstein get out. Einstein sniffs around and then picks up the scent and runs towards the bushes. At the bushes. Einstein finds the unconscious young Jennifer and barks. Doc and Marty run over. Doc. Good work, honey. Doc looks over at Jennifer and checks her vital signs. Marty. Is she alive? Doc. She's in shock. But should we risk taking her to the hospital? They hear old Marty inside on the phone. Old Marty, off screen. Yeah, I just need an ambulance. My wife just passed out and I can't revive her. McFly, Martin McFly, 1311 Park Lane in Hilldale. Hurry. Doc, scratch that idea. Marty stands, wanting to look into the window, but Doc immediately yanks him down. Doc, don't look at yourself. Let's just get Jennifer out of here fast. They lift Jennifer and carry her toward the van. Cut 2, interior, Doc's lab, night. Doc's van returns. All is just as it was when they left, or is it? The DeLorean looks like it's been moved and parked differently, and there's a small puddle under it. But Doc and Marty are only concerned with Jennifer and don't notice. They lift her out of the van and lay her on a cot. Doc, keep her warm, Marty. I've got some oxygen here. Hopefully that'll bring her to. Marty covers Jennifer with a blanket while Doc locates a tank of oxygen. Close on Jennifer's face moments later. As Doc's hands place an oxygen mask over her face, Marty watches anxiously. Doc checks Jennifer's pulse. After a few anxious moments, she stirs. She's still unconscious, but her breathing becomes more pronounced. Doc, she'll be fine, at least physically. Hand me that towel. I want to blindfold her. Marty, blindfold her for what? Marty hands it to Doc, and Doc uses it to blindfold her. Look, Marty, she's
received a severe shock. Seeing herself 30 years older and the repercussions of that could be who knows what. Therefore, we must make her think it was a bad dream, which means we must get her back to 1985 so she's comes to in familiar surroundings. I don't want to take any chances for her. Seeing this lab or the DeLorean or anything in the future, now change back into your 1985 clothes and let's go home. Doc hands Marty the gym bag with his clothes. Marty spots the sealed red bookstore bag lying where Doc left it. Marty checks to see if Doc's looking. He's not. Marty hesitates. Should he or shouldn't he? He should. He grabs the bag and puts it in. He grabs it and puts it in the gym bag. Cut to the DeLorean moments later. Marty, now dressed in his 1985 clothes, sits in the DeLorean with unconscious Jennifer on his lap. Einstein is behind them. Doc closes the gull-wing door on him, then runs around to the driver's side in it. Doc, we'll go back to 1985 just a few minutes after we left. Turns to the time circuits on. Last time we departed was what? September 20th, 1967, 6:15 a.m.? What? Sure enough, that's the time the display shows. Honey, did you hit that keypad again? I know it's close quarters, but have you been careful when you come in and out of here? Marty, October 26, 1985, Doc. We left at 10:40 a.m., so 10:45 should do it. Doc enters the data. Exterior, Doc's garage. Night. The DeLorean pulls out of the garage, its wheels drop down and into flying mode, and then it blasts off. Interior, flying DeLorean at night. Doc makes final adjustments. Well, Marty, take your last look at the future. Marty looks out the side window as the DeLorean's flying car accelerates. Marty, it's weird. Kind of looks like your lab fading out. But there's no time to notice. The speedometer rockets up to 88 miles per hour. The flux capacitor glows brightly, and the discharge of bursts of intense white light. Instantaneously, the night sky becomes day. Doc, welcome home. The local time is now 10:45 a.m.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There's the part one of our reading of the Paradox script. I encourage you to find this one online too if you want to read it for yourself. A real fun time. I'm excited to continue to figure out what happens to Marty and Doc. But that's all we're going to give you for this edition of Back to the Future, the podcast. Want to make sure that you subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. We'll be back next week with the continued reading of the Paradox script, the original draft of Back to the Future Part 2. But until next time, my name is Brad Gilmore. This is Back to the Future, the podcast, the only podcast looking back in time through the greatest film trilogy of all time. And we'll see you in the future.